So, some people know what this symbol is, right? It's for the Human Genome Project, which was actually started back in 1990. What a surprise. And the thing is, all the funding and the money that science has gotten, it's all gone towards this. Basically just wanting to log everybody's genetic sequence into one big catalog. That's the reason they don't cure anything. And if they cure things, it doesn't serve getting more money. Sorry if that upsets some people, but the truth is sometimes the truth is uncomfortable. The Human Genome Project was an international scientific project with the goal of determining the base pairs that make up human DNA and of identifying, mapping, and sequencing all of the genes of the human genome from both a physical and a functional standpoint. It started in 1990 and was completed in 2003. Yes, many people involved. Funding came from the United States, Funding came from the United States government through the NIH as well as numerous other groups around the world. A parallel project was conducted outside the government by the Celera Corporation, Celera Genomics, which was formally launched in 1988. Most of the government-sponsored sequencing was performed in 20 universities and research centers in the United States, United Kingdom, Japan, France, Germany, and China. It was a 15-year-long project, as I said, started in 1990. The Chinese Academy of Sciences, as I said, was one. That's who when China was part of one of the organizations, it's their Chinese Academy of Sciences. So, way to go, universities. Also, who was involved is the Wellcome Trust. People have heard of the Wellcome Trust. It's merged. It's the Wellcome Trust Sanger Institute. People know who Sanger is. The United States Department of Energy and Joint Genome Institute. There's many on here. And they have an ethics committee because this did come under scrutiny because it's a violation. Obviously, I mean, this is just a small picture of the data they have on every. This is insane. And they'll say, well, we can come up with, no, they've not shown a success rate, okay? When they could have spent all this money and time actually curing things, but that doesn't work for the banks. Then I just wanted to show how, I said the funding came from the U.S. government, but also if you look at the second paragraph, right where I'm at, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization served as an important channel for the involvement of developing countries in the Human Genome Project. They just want everybody. This is twisted. I mean, people know that are awake. But the Wellcome Trust is what I want to get to, though. It's Henry Wellcome. This is Henry Wellcome. And some people know of the Wellcome Trust, but may not know about him, or maybe you do, but his story is interesting because he actually wrote about what his desires were. In his will documents of 1932, the American-born pharmaceuticals pioneer Henry Wellcome devised an plan that was to give him more power over health and medicine after his death than would be possessed by anyone living. He set out what was a double-edged scheme to run a business and a charity together. The flagship would be a philanthropic body, now the Wellcome Trust, actually Wellcome Sanger Trust, enjoying the image and tax benefits and public-spirited generosity. But behind it, this would operate as an industrial organization, straight up and down for profit, corporation profit. The scheme was essentially a Masonic idea, Henry Wellcome was a lifelong Freemason, and despite the efforts of many among Britain's great and good who have since administered his affairs on the Board of Trustees, so successful was this merging of profit with charity that it has given a dead man a tighter grip on medicine than that enjoyed by a few who are alive. And then one of the things he did, so the theme of advertising to U.S. doctors in promoting acyclovir, that's like for AIDS. Again, these are all just treatments for symptoms. Science has never come up with a cure. They're too busy selling shit. But acyclovir in 1933, but despite such pitches, the wider benefits of the drug were not quite what many supposed. For genital herpes, it can reduce the symptoms, but research suggests sufferers continue to be infectious. This is what I mean. But that's who he played to, was doctors back in the day. Yeah. And he's no different than the rest of them. Like this article goes on to say, is the Wellcome empire worse than other drug businesses? No, that isn't the point. What Henry Wellcome bequeathed was not more of the same, but a template which the others have enjoyed. It's no exaggeration to say that with his partner, Burroughs, he pioneered putting marketing above medicine. They basically said in this art, or he did, that doctors become doctors not really so much because they have compassion, but because of their elite status, their standing in society, and money. And so it was easy to market to doctors. That's what it says. But back in the day, realizing that it was not so much what a drugstore sold that mattered, but the way it was presented that mattered. It's all about advertising. He bottled lemon juice and advertised it as invisible ink with a pitch to shame a snake oil salesman. And the pitch was, Wellcome's magic ink, the greatest wonder of the age. This is something entirely new and novel. Write a quill or a golden pen on white paper, and then it disappears. His drugstore experience propelled him to pharmacy college, where he further developed his ideas. It was less the science of medicine, he realized, than it was the marketing that created the profits. Taking the next step, in 1880, he moved to Britain at the age of 26 and went into partnership with Silas Burroughs, an even better salesman than himself. Medicines were still mainly powders and liquids, so the two men first started a European company. They're behind Septrin and Septra in the U.S. and the U.K. That was their first real blockbuster from the Wellcome Foundation. But here's what's interesting about them. Septrum is actually two drugs put together, both of which inhibit folic acid synthesis. And there's no need for both. It says here, but for nearly all infections, the drugs didn't need to be combined. There was no advantage in taking two. Reports in the medical literature said so plainly. In 1973, the Journal of Chemotherapy said so. They kept telling 1978, 1980, saying it's cheaper to just do one drug. You don't need both. But again, it's all about the money. So he shaped it. And then other drug companies just picked up on that. That's what we're dealing with today. Had science been, that's why funding should stop to them. If they're not going to come up with cures and they're just going to steal people's data all so that they can say they're doing research, no, we know they've been doing gain of function. I think that's enough of a red flag at this point to say that the universities, they should have no more access to funding, nor our damn genome. It's our data, but it's too late. They have it all. It's how out of control all of this is.